Hello, everyone. Welcome to tonight's story. Your likes and subscriptions can give me hope to create better stories and let me know what changes you'd like me to make to my voice. All right, now let's get to tonight's story. Chapter 1. The Evening Preparations. As twilight settles gently over the ancient stone walls, let your breathing slow and deepen, just as the medieval castle dwellers did when evening approached. The castle is not the cold, barren place you might imagine. No, it pulses with warmth, with life, with the careful wisdom of generations who learned to thrive within these protective walls. Breathe in slowly now. And imagine yourself walking through these corridors as the last light of day fades away. The stones beneath your feet are not cold, but pleasantly cool, warmed by the day's activities and the careful placement of fires that have been tended since dawn. Each step echoes softly through halls that have sheltered countless souls through countless winters. In the great hall, the massive hearth crackles with a fire that reaches nearly to your shoulders. This is no ordinary fireplace, but a carefully engineered marvel of medieval heating. The stones surrounding it have absorbed heat all day long, and they will continue to radiate this warmth throughout the long night ahead. Feel how the heat spreads through the room, how it seeps into every corner, every nook where people gather and rest. The castle's inhabitants move with practiced efficiency in these evening hours. They have learned, through generations of winter nights, exactly how to prepare for comfort and warmth. Watch as servants spread fresh rushes mixed with sweet herbs across the floors. These are not just decorative, but practical layers of insulation that trap warm air close to the ground. The herbs release gentle fragrances with each footstep, lavender and rosemary and thyme, creating a natural aromatherapy that soothes both body and mind. Breathe deeply and let these imagined scents calm your nervous system. Medieval people understood intuitively what we now know scientifically, that certain herbs promote relaxation and deeper sleep. The rushes they scattered were carefully chosen, gathered during the warmest part of summer when their essential oils were most potent, then dried and stored for these cold winter nights. As you move through the castle, notice how the walls themselves tell a story of warmth and protection. These stones were not simply stacked, but carefully selected and placed by master craftsmen who understood thermal mass. During the day, the thick walls absorbed heat from sun and fire. Now, as evening deepens, they release this stored warmth slowly, gradually, creating a gentle envelope of comfort that will last through the night. The windows are not the large, drafty openings you might expect, but small, carefully positioned apertures fitted with wooden shutters lined with thick fabric. Some wealthy castles even had oiled parchment or thin slices of horn that let in light while keeping out the bitter wind. Tonight, these shutters are being closed one by one, each closure sealing another source of heat loss, creating an ever warmer interior sanctuary. Let your own body begin to settle now, just as these castle dwellers are settling for the night. Feel your muscles releasing tension, your breathing becoming slower and more regular. The medieval people knew that preparation for sleep was a ritual, a gradual transition from the activity of day to the deep rest of night. In the castle kitchens, the great ovens that baked the day's bread now serve another purpose. Their retained heat warms the entire lower level of the castle, and the kitchen servants know to leave certain doors ajar so this precious warmth can flow upward through the stone structure. The very architecture of the castle was designed to channel and preserve heat, with each room positioned to take advantage of warm air rising from the levels below. The lord and lady of the castle are preparing their private chambers now, and their preparations reveal centuries of accumulated wisdom about staying warm through cold nights. Heavy tapestries are being hung not just for decoration, but as insulation. These thick woven wool hangings create a barrier between the stone walls and the living space, trapping a layer of still air that acts as natural insulation. Watch as servants prepare the bed itself, a marvel of medieval comfort technology. First, they spread thick straw mattresses over wooden boards, creating a base that lifts the sleepers well above the cold floor. Over this goes a feather mattress, carefully plumped and shaken to trap as much insulating air as possible. Each layer serves a purpose, each addition adding another barrier against the cold. The bed linens themselves tell a story of warmth and care. Linen sheets, woven tight and smooth, provide a clean surface that warms quickly from body heat. Over these go woolen blankets, sometimes as many as 6 or 8 layers, each one adding insulation while remaining breathable enough to prevent overheating. The heaviest covers are made from thick wool felt, dense and wind-resistant, capable of maintaining warmth even in the drafty stone chambers. But perhaps most ingenious of all are the warming pans, long-handled metal containers filled with glowing coals from the hearth. These are carefully passed between the layers of bedding, warming each sheet and blanket before the sleepers arrive. The metal holds heat for hours, creating pockets of warmth that will comfort tired bodies throughout the night. As you imagine this scene, let your own body sink deeper into whatever surface supports you now. Feel how your own warmth is held close by your coverings, how your breathing naturally slows as your comfort increases. Medieval people understood that true rest comes not just from lying down, but from feeling completely secure and warm. The great hall is settling into its evening rhythm now. The massive wooden tables have been cleared and pushed aside, and the floor is being prepared as a sleeping space for many of the castle's inhabitants. This might seem uncomfortable to modern minds, but consider how carefully this space has been prepared. The floor rushes are thick and fresh. The fire continues to warm the air, and heavy woolen cloaks and blankets are being distributed to each person who will rest here. There is a profound sense of community in this shared sleeping arrangement. Bodies close together share warmth naturally, and the gentle sounds of quiet conversation and settling create a soothing background rhythm. This is how humans slept for thousands of years, in groups, in safety, surrounded by others who shared their need for warmth and protection. Listen now to the settling sounds of the castle. The crackling of fires, the soft footsteps of servants completing their evening tasks, the gentle murmur of conversations growing quieter as people prepare for sleep. These sounds create a cocoon of safety, an auditory blanket that tells every inhabitant that they are protected, that the castle walls stand strong against the night. The castle dogs are settling too, their thick coats and loyal presence adding another layer of warmth and security. They position themselves near the fires, near the sleeping humans, their steady breathing and occasional contented sighs adding to the peaceful atmosphere. Even the cats, with their natural ability to find the warmest spots, curl into perfect circles of fur near hearths and among the rushes. As the evening preparations continue, notice how every detail has been considered, how every tradition has evolved to serve the fundamental human need for warmth and rest. The castle dwellers are not fighting against the cold, but working with it, using their knowledge and resources to create environments of comfort, even in the depths of winter. The children of the castle are being tucked into beds warmed with heated stones wrapped in soft wool. These natural heating devices will keep their small bodies comfortable all night long, warming their feet and hands as they drift into dreams. The older children share beds not just for economy, but for the warmth that bodies create when close together, each child both giving and receiving comfort. Adolescents and young adults often sleep in groups in smaller chambers, their beds pushed close together, thick curtains hanging around the entire sleeping area to create a warm microenvironment. They understand instinctively that shared warmth is multiplied warmth, that bodies at rest generate heat most efficiently when that heat is conserved and shared. The castle's design itself supports this warmth. Chambers are sized appropriately for their purpose, not too large to heat ineffectively, but large enough for comfort. Ceilings are often lower than in modern rooms, keeping warm air closer to the inhabitants. Doorways have thick wooden doors that fit snugly in their frames, and many are hung with heavy curtains that create airlocks, preventing drafts from moving freely through the castle. Feel your own environment now, how your body heat is being conserved and held close. Notice how your breathing has naturally slowed, how your heartbeat has found a steady, peaceful rhythm. The medieval castle dwellers knew that true warmth begins from within, with a body at ease, a mind at peace, preparing for the deep rest that restores and heals. As the last preparations are completed, as the final warming pans are passed through beds and the last logs are added to fires, the castle settles into its nighttime rhythm. This is not a cold, uncomfortable settling, but a warm, secure nesting, a community of people who have mastered the art of winter comfort through generations of wisdom and care. The stones of the castle walls hold their heat like gentle giants, releasing warmth slowly through the night. The fires burn low but steady, tended by servants who understand exactly how to maintain heat without waste. The beds are prepared with layers of comfort that will maintain perfect temperature until dawn. And throughout it all, the inhabitants rest in the knowledge that they are warm, safe, and cared for within these ancient protective walls. Let this feeling of security and warmth settle into your own bones now. Feel how the medieval wisdom of rest and comfort can calm your modern nervous system, how the gentle rhythm of castle life can slow your thoughts and prepare you for deep, restorative sleep. The first chapter of your medieval night is complete, and you are ready to rest as comfortably as any lord or lady in their well-prepared castle chamber. Chapter 2: The Architecture of Comfort. Now settle deeper into your comfortable position and let your breathing become even more relaxed as we explore how medieval builders created true sanctuaries of warmth within their stone fortresses. Your heartbeat is slowing, matching the steady rhythm of castle life as we discover the ingenious ways that medieval architects worked with natural forces to create comfortable living spaces. Imagine yourself as one of the master builders of the castle, understanding every stone, every beam, every carefully planned detail that makes winter survival not just possible, but comfortable. These builders were artists of warmth, engineers of comfort, who understood principles of heat retention and airflow that modern science is only now beginning to fully appreciate. The foundation stones of the castle were not simply stacked for strength, but carefully placed to work with the Earth's natural insulation. Deep below ground, the Earth maintains a steady temperature year-round, neither the blazing heat of summer nor the bitter cold of winter. The castle's foundation tapped into this steady earth warmth, allowing it to rise through the stone structure like a gentle, constant breath of comfort. Breathe slowly now and imagine this earth warmth rising through the floors beneath you. The medieval builders knew to create channels and spaces within the foundation that allowed this natural warmth to flow upward, warming the floors of the great hall and the lower chambers. Some castles even had primitive hypocaust systems inspired by ancient Roman techniques that channeled warm air through hollow spaces in the walls and floors. The walls themselves were marvels of thermal engineering, though their builders might not have used such modern terms. The stones were selected not just for strength, but for their ability to absorb, hold, and slowly release heat. Limestone, sandstone, and granite each had different thermal properties, and master builders knew which stones to use in which locations to maximize heat retention. The thickness of these walls was not merely for defense, but for thermal mass. Walls 3, 4, even 6 feet thick absorbed heat from sun and fire during the day, storing it like massive batteries that discharged their warmth slowly through the cold night hours. Touch these imaginary walls now with your mind. Feel how they radiate gentle heat even in the darkest hours before dawn. Windows were positioned not randomly, but according to careful observation of sun patterns and wind directions. South-facing windows captured maximum winter sunlight, their small size concentrating the sun's warmth while minimizing heat loss. North-facing windows were fewer and smaller, reducing exposure to cold winds while still providing necessary light and ventilation. The window glass itself, when available, was not the thin, heat-conducting material we know today, but thick, uneven glass that created insulating air pockets. More commonly, windows were fitted with oiled cloth or parchment, materials that allowed light to pass while providing much better insulation than bare openings. Wooden shutters, often lined with wool or fur, could seal these openings completely when warmth was more important than light. Let your eyes rest now, feeling as secure as if they were protected by these thick shutters, sealed away from the cold night air. Medieval people understood that rest comes more easily in darkness, that the body's natural rhythms respond to the gentle transition from light to dark, from activity to stillness. The roofing systems of medieval castles were engineering marvels disguised as simple construction. Thick thatch, where used, provided excellent insulation, trapping air in millions of tiny pockets while remaining waterproof. Slate and tile roofs were underlaid with layers of organic materials that insulated while allowing moisture to escape. The steep pitch of castle roofs wasn't just for shedding rain, but for creating large attic spaces that served as insulating buffers between the living areas and the outside air. Within these roof spaces, warm air from the castle below created comfortable microclimates where servants and soldiers often slept. The rising heat from the main floors made these upper areas naturally warm, and the thick roof materials kept this heat from escaping into the night sky. Many castles had sleeping alcoves built into these roof spaces, cozy nests that were among the warmest spots in the entire structure. The interior layout of the castle was planned around heat flow and conservation. Chambers were clustered around central chimneys, sharing the heat from common fires. Kitchens were often located centrally, so their heat could warm surrounding rooms. Great halls were positioned to receive warmth from below and share it with upper floors through carefully planned staircases that acted as heat chimneys. Staircases themselves were more than just means of moving between floors. The spiral staircases common in castle towers created natural air currents that moved warm air upward while drawing fresh air down from above. The central stone pillar of these staircases absorbed heat and radiated it outward, warming the steps and the surrounding air. Climbing these stairs was often a journey from cool to warm, as each level received more of the castle's rising heat. Doorways were engineered for warmth retention. Heavy wooden doors fit tightly in their frames, often with wooden or metal weather stripping to eliminate drafts. Many doorways had double doors, creating airlocks that prevented cold air from rushing in when the outer door was opened. Curtains of thick wool or leather hung in doorways, creating additional barriers that could be pushed aside for passage but fell back into place to maintain the thermal boundary. The floors themselves were designed for comfort and warmth. Stone floors in main areas were often covered with thick rugs or mats, but in many chambers, wooden floors were built over the stone, creating insulating air gaps. These wooden floors were often covered with animal skins, woven mats, or thick layers of rushes that provided cushioning and insulation while remaining easy to clean and replace. Feel how your own body is settling now, sinking into whatever supports you. Just as medieval people settled into their carefully prepared sleeping spaces, notice how your muscles are releasing tension, how your breathing has found its natural, slow rhythm. The wisdom of medieval comfort is working on your nervous system, helping you find the deep relaxation that leads to restorative sleep. The heating systems of castles were marvels of efficiency and comfort. Central hearths in great halls were not just large for cooking, but were designed to heat maximum space with minimum fuel. The fireboxes were deep and wide, allowing for complete combustion that produced maximum heat with minimum smoke. Chimney systems were carefully engineered to draw air efficiently while preventing downdrafts that could fill rooms with smoke. Many castles had multiple smaller fireplaces throughout the structure, each one designed to heat its immediate area effectively. These fireplaces often had reflective back walls that directed heat out into the room rather than allowing it to escape up the chimney. Some had complex systems of flues that captured escaping heat and channeled it through other parts of the castle before finally releasing it outside. The fuel used in these fires was carefully chosen for maximum heat output and minimum waste. Hardwoods like oak and ash burned long and hot, providing steady heat through the night. Softwoods were used for quick heating and easy ignition. Peat, where available, burned slowly and steadily, requiring little tending while providing consistent warmth. Even the arrangement of logs in the fireplace was a learned skill, creating fires that would burn efficiently and safely through the night. Braziers and portable heating devices supplemented the main fires. These metal containers held charcoal or small wood fires and could be moved to wherever warmth was needed most. In sleeping chambers, braziers provided gentle heat that could be tended without disturbing sleepers. The metal absorbed heat during the day and continued radiating it long after the coals had died down. The chimney systems themselves were works of art and engineering. Internal chimneys ran through the castle walls, warming the stones they passed through before exiting at the top. The chimney stones became heat radiators, warming adjacent rooms and chambers. Some castles had complex systems of interconnected flues that shared heat between multiple rooms, ensuring that the warmth from one fire could benefit several living spaces. Ventilation was carefully balanced with heat retention. Medieval builders understood that fresh air was necessary for health, but also knew that too much ventilation would drain away precious warmth. Small vents near the tops of rooms allowed stale air to escape, while preventing the loss of warm air that naturally stayed closer to the floor. These vents could be closed with wooden covers or cloth during the coldest weather. The placement of living spaces within the castle was strategic for warmth. The most important chambers were located in the center of the structure, surrounded by other heated spaces that provided insulating buffers. Sleeping chambers were often located above kitchens or great halls, taking advantage of the heat that rose from these active, warm areas below. Storage areas for food and supplies were positioned to benefit from residual heat while remaining cool enough for preservation. Root cellars use the Earth's natural temperature regulation, while grain storage areas were placed where they would stay dry but not too warm. Even the castle's defensive features were planned with comfort in mind. Guard towers had small hearths, and wall walks had sheltered areas where sentries could warm themselves during long, cold watches. 0. Let your mind wander now through these warm, well-planned spaces. Feel how every detail has been considered for your comfort, how every stone has been placed with your warmth in mind. Your body is finding the same comfort that medieval castle dwellers found in their carefully engineered homes, the same sense of security and warmth that allowed them to sleep peacefully through the longest winter nights. The acoustics of the castle contributed to comfort as well. The thick walls and careful construction created spaces where the sounds of crackling fires, gentle conversation, and settling stones blended into a soothing symphony of security. These sounds told every inhabitant that the castle was alive, warm, and protective, that they were safely held within walls that had sheltered generations before them. As you settle deeper into rest, imagine yourself surrounded by this architecture of comfort, these stone walls that hold warmth like gentle guardians, these carefully planned spaces that work together to create perfect conditions for rest and restoration. The second chapter of your medieval night is complete, and you are wrapped in the wisdom of centuries of builders who understood how to create true comfort within stone walls. Chapter 3. The Rituals of Warmth. Let your breathing slow even more now, becoming as gentle and regular as the evening rituals that brought comfort to every soul within the castle walls. Feel your heartbeat settling into the peaceful rhythm of medieval evening life as we explore the beautiful traditions that transformed cold stone chambers into sanctuaries of warmth and rest. The medieval evening was not simply the end of day, but the beginning of a carefully orchestrated symphony of comfort. Every person in the castle, from the lord in his private chamber to the scullery maid near the kitchen fire, participated in rituals that had been perfected over generations of cold nights and discovered warmth. As dusk settled over the castle, the great bell in the tower would ring the hour of vespers, and this sound triggered a cascade of warming activities throughout the structure. Servants would begin their rounds with warming pans, those ingenious, long-handled vessels filled with glowing coals. The sound of these pans sliding between bedsheets created a gentle, rhythmic whisper that signaled comfort was coming to every corner of the castle. Picture yourself moving through these evening preparations, your own muscles relaxing as you imagine the careful attention paid to every detail of comfort. The warming pan carriers were skilled in their craft, knowing exactly how long to leave the heated metal between each layer of bedding, how to warm the sheets without scorching them, how to create pockets of perfect temperature that would welcome tired bodies. In the great hall, The evening fire was being prepared for the long night ahead. This was not simply a matter of adding logs, but a careful ritual of banking and layering that would ensure steady heat until dawn. Large logs of hardwood formed the base, their dense fibers ready to burn slowly and steadily. Smaller pieces of kindling were nestled between them, ready to catch flame and heat the larger pieces. The arrangement was both functional and beautiful. A wooden sculpture that would transform into warmth and light. The herb mistress of the castle would make her evening rounds now, carrying bundles of dried lavender, chamomile, and sweet woodruff. These were not merely pleasant scents, but carefully chosen plants that medieval people knew promoted deep, peaceful sleep. She would tuck small sachets of these herbs into pillows and bedding, or burn them gently in small braziers, filling the air with fragrances that calmed the mind and prepared the body for rest. Breathe deeply now and imagine these gentle herbal scents surrounding you. Let your mind associate these imagined fragrances with deep relaxation. Just as medieval people learned to connect these evening smells with the approach of comfortable sleep. Your nervous system is responding to these phantom scents just as it would to real ones, preparing your body for the deep rest that is coming. The castle kitchens were creating their own evening comfort rituals. Large cauldrons of spiced wine were being warmed near the fires, not for celebration, but for the gentle warmth they would provide to cold bodies before sleep. These drinks were carefully prepared with warming spices, cinnamon, ginger, cloves, and cardamom, that medieval people knew would heat the body from within and promote drowsiness. Young servants carried wooden cups of this warmed wine throughout the castle, offering comfort to everyone, from knights returning from guard duty to elderly residents who needed extra help staying warm through the night. The ritual of sharing warm drinks was both practical and social, creating moments of connection and care that added emotional warmth to physical comfort. In private chambers, more intimate warming rituals were taking place. Ladies of the castle would brush each other's hair near the fire, the repetitive, soothing motion helping to release the tensions of the day while warming by the hearth. The act of brushing hair was known to be deeply relaxing, and combined with the heat of the fire, it created a perfect transition from wakefulness to sleepiness. Children had their own special evening rituals. They would gather near the fires for storytelling, their small bodies pressed close together for warmth, while their minds were filled with tales that grew gentler and more soothing as the evening progressed. The stories themselves were chosen for their calming effect. Tales of brave knights safely returned home, of warm cottages and cozy hearths, of gentle animals settling down for peaceful sleep. Let these imaginary stories wash over you now. Feel how your own mind is being prepared for dreams by the gentle rhythm of narrative and the imagined warmth of shared fires. Medieval people understood intuitively what modern science now confirms, that the right kind of stories can calm the nervous system and prepare the brain for restorative sleep. The evening prayers of the castle were not just spiritual rituals, but calming practices that helped settle both mind and body. These prayers were often said in warm chambers, with people kneeling on soft cushions near fires, the repetitive words and gentle warmth combining to create a deep sense of peace and security. The familiar phrases, repeated night after night, became signals to the body that rest and safety were approaching. Throughout the castle, people were performing their own personal evening rituals. Some would warm their hands and feet by fires before bed, knowing that warm extremities were key to comfortable sleep. Others would perform gentle stretching or massaging, working out the tensions of the day while warming their muscles by the hearth. The preparation of night clothes was its own ritual of comfort. Unlike the rough work clothes of day, night garments were made of soft, warm materials. Linen shifts for next to the skin, woolen gowns for extra warmth, soft leather slippers to keep feet warm on cold floors. These clothes were often warmed by the fire before being put on, creating an immediate cocoon of heat around the wearer's body. Feel how your own clothes are supporting your comfort now. How they hold your body heat close and create your own personal environment of warmth. Medieval people understood that comfort begins with the layer closest to skin, and they prepared their sleeping garments with the same care they used for everything else related to rest and warmth. The lighting of the castle was being adjusted for evening comfort. Bright torches and candles gave way to gentler illumination, small oil lamps that cast warm, flickering light, banked fires that glowed rather than blazed, the soft light of dying embers that created a peaceful twilight atmosphere throughout the living spaces. This gentle lighting was not just practical, but psychological. Medieval people understood that bright light kept the mind alert, while dimmer light signaled to the body that sleep was approaching. The warm colors of firelight, reds, oranges, yellows, were naturally calming, helping to trigger the body's production of sleep-promoting chemicals. The sounds of the castle were changing too, becoming part of the evening's calming ritual. The busy noises of day, hammering, shouting, the clatter of work, gave way to gentler sounds. The soft crackling of fires, the whisper of fabric as beds were prepared, the gentle murmur of evening conversations, the padding of soft slippers on stone floors. These sounds created an auditory blanket of safety and comfort. Listen now to the imagined sounds of your medieval castle settling for the night. Let these phantom sounds calm your own nervous system, just as the real sounds calmed medieval castle dwellers centuries ago. Your brain is responding to these imagined auditory cues, preparing for the same deep rest that came to those who lived within these warming walls. The sharing of warmth was becoming more intimate and personal as the evening progressed. Family members would gather close together, sharing not just physical warmth, but emotional comfort. Married couples would warm each other's hands. Parents would check that children were properly covered. Friends would ensure that everyone had adequate bedding and warmth. This social warming was as important as the physical preparations. Medieval people understood that feeling cared for and secure was essential for good sleep, that the emotional warmth of community was as vital as the physical warmth of fires and blankets. The evening rituals were designed to reinforce social bonds while providing practical comfort. The castle's animals were part of the evening comfort rituals too. Dogs would be settling near fires, their steady breathing and warm bodies adding to the overall atmosphere of peace and security. Cats would be finding the warmest spots, their purring adding a gentle vibration that medieval people knew was deeply soothing. Even the horses in the stable below contributed to the castle's warmth, their large bodies generating heat that rose through the structure. The final preparations for sleep were the most intimate and careful. Personal braziers were lit in sweeping chambers, providing gentle heat that would last through the night. Bed curtains were drawn, creating private spaces that held warmth while providing a sense of security and enclosure. Extra blankets were laid out within easy reach, ready to provide additional warmth if the night grew colder. Nightcaps and warm socks were put on, protecting the head and feet where body heat was most easily lost. Some people would place heated stones wrapped in cloth at the foot of their beds, natural heating devices that would provide warmth for their feet through the long night hours. Feel your own extremities now, how they are warm and comfortable, protected and cared for, just as medieval people cared for their hands and feet during the long winter nights. Let this feeling of complete physical comfort spread through your entire body, preparing every muscle and nerve for deep, restorative sleep. The evening rituals were creating more than just physical warmth. They were creating a complete environment of comfort that addressed every need of body and mind. The medieval castle at night was not a cold, forbidding fortress, but a warm, nurturing home where every tradition and every practice had evolved to support the fundamental human need for comfort, security, and rest. As these evening rituals reached their completion, as the last warming pans made their rounds and the final cups of spiced wine were shared, the castle settled into its nighttime embrace. Every person within its walls was surrounded by warmth, held by traditions of comfort, cradled by the accumulated wisdom of generations who had learned to transform cold stone into sanctuaries of peace. Let yourself be held now by these same traditions, these same rituals of comfort that have calmed human hearts and bodies for centuries. The third chapter of your medieval night is complete, and you are ready to rest as peacefully as any soul who ever found comfort within castle walls, surrounded by warmth, held by tradition, prepared for the deep sleep that restores and heals. Chapter 4. The deep sleep of stone walls. Now let your body sink into complete relaxation, as deep and comfortable as the sleep that came to medieval castle dwellers in their perfectly prepared chambers. Your breathing is becoming slower and deeper with each word, matching the peaceful rhythm of those who slept safely within stone walls, surrounded by warmth, cradled by centuries of wisdom about perfect rest. The castle is now fully settled into its nighttime embrace. Every fire has been banked to burn slowly and steadily. Every bed has been warmed and prepared. Every tradition of comfort has been observed. The great stone walls hold their heat like gentle guardians, radiating steady warmth that will last until dawn and beyond. Feel how these walls seem to breathe with peaceful energy, how they create a sanctuary that protects and nurtures all who rest within. In the great hall, those who sleep on the floor are not uncomfortable, but perfectly warm and secure. The thick layers of rushes provide cushioning and insulation, holding body heat close while remaining soft and fragrant with herbs. The massive fire continues to warm the air, and the stones of the hearth radiate steady heat in all directions. Bodies lying close together share warmth naturally, creating a community of comfort that multiplies the warmth each person generates alone. Listen to the gentle sounds of this communal sleeping space. Quiet breathing, soft sighs of contentment, the occasional rustle of someone adjusting their blanket, the steady crackle of the banked fire. These are the sounds of perfect security, of people so comfortable and safe that they can surrender completely to sleep. Let these imagined sounds wash over your own nervous system, triggering the same deep relaxation that comes from feeling completely protected and warm. The children of the castle are sleeping the deep sleep of perfect comfort. Their small bodies are wrapped in soft wool, warmed by heated stones at their feet, surrounded by the gentle heat of the chambers above the kitchens. Their breathing is slow and even, their faces peaceful in the warm darkness. They dream of summer meadows and cozy hearths, their unconscious minds processing the complete security they feel within these protecting walls. Feel your own face relaxing now, just as theirs do, releasing all tension as your body recognizes the same signals of safety and warmth. Your muscles are letting go of the day's stresses. Your nervous system is shifting into the healing rhythms of deep rest, just as human bodies have done for centuries when perfectly comfortable and secure. In the private chambers, the Lord and Lady of the castle rest in beds that are marvels of medieval comfort technology. Multiple layers of feather mattresses create perfect support, conforming to their bodies while maintaining warmth. The bed curtains are drawn close, creating a warm microclimate that holds their body heat while providing a sense of intimate privacy. The warming pans have heated every layer of bedding to perfect temperature. Their night clothes are soft and warm, made from the finest materials available, designed for comfort rather than appearance. Soft linen touches their skin, while wool provides insulating layers that breathe while they sleep. Nightcaps protect their heads from heat loss, and soft slippers keep their feet warm if they need to rise during the night. The heated stones, wrapped in cloth at the foot of their bed, provide steady warmth that will last until morning. These are not just practical devices, but comforting presences that medieval people knew helped the body maintain its natural sleep temperature throughout the night. The gentle heat radiating from these stones helps maintain the blood flow to extremities that is essential for deep, uninterrupted sleep. Imagine your own feet being gently warmed in the same way. Feel how this phantom warmth spreads up through your legs, relaxing every muscle, helping your entire body settle into deeper and deeper rest. Medieval people understood that warming the feet was one of the most effective ways to trigger the body's natural sleep response. And this ancient wisdom is working on your nervous system now. The castle's unique acoustic environment contributes to the perfect sleep conditions. The thick stone walls muffle outside sounds while containing the gentle, comforting sounds of the interior. The crackling of fires, the soft breathing of sleepers, the occasional settling sound of the ancient timbers all blend into a soothing symphony that tells every unconscious mind that all is well, that safety and warmth surround them completely. These sounds are not distracting, but deeply comforting. Medieval people learned to associate them with security and rest, and hearing them triggered an automatic relaxation response. The sounds told them that fires were burning, that people were safe, that the castle's protective embrace was holding them through the night. Let these imagined sounds work their ancient magic on your own mind now. Feel how your brain interprets them as signals of complete safety. How they help shift your consciousness toward the deep states of rest that restore both body and mind. You are connected now to centuries of people who found perfect peace within stone walls, who discovered that true comfort comes from understanding how to work with natural forces rather than fighting against them. The air quality within the castle at night is perfect for sleep. The fires provide just enough oxygen consumption to create a slightly drowsy atmosphere, while the herb sachets and burning aromatics release natural compounds that promote deep rest. The slightly reduced oxygen levels that come from burning fires in enclosed spaces trigger the body's natural tendency toward deeper sleep, just as higher altitudes or enclosed spaces do today. This is not dangerous or uncomfortable, but the gentle atmospheric change that medieval people learned to use for better rest. Their bodies adapted to these conditions, learning to sleep more deeply and wake more refreshed in these carefully controlled environments. The air itself becomes a partner in the process of rest, supporting the body's natural sleep chemistry. Breathe this imagined air now. Feel how it seems to carry you deeper into relaxation with each inhalation.